This is a Glendale Library Arts and Culture program, created for teens, edited and hosted by the Teen Library staff. Check out community service opportunities and teen events down in the description box.
Hi everyone, it's Melissa.
And Desiree.
Welcome to another episode of Teen Gen Talks, where the goal is to empower the youth of Glendale and connect youth to community resources, individuals, and organizations through interviews and discussions.
So grab a snack or a drink and join us as we welcome our special guest today, Jessica Trujillo.
Thank you, Jessica, for taking the time out of your day to talk with us.
Of course.
We have so much to discuss.
Ooh, perfect. Well, yes, let me go ahead and introduce myself. Hi, I'm Jessica. I am a recent college graduate of CSULB. I have a bachelor's degree in sociology. I am a business owner of a jewelry boutique, and I am a podcaster.
I want to start off the interview with talking a little bit about your college experience.
Yeah.
Like you mentioned, you are a recent graduate from Cal State Long Beach with a BA in sociology. So what about sociology drew you into it?
Funny thing is that when I started at Vanguard University in Newport Beach, and I was actually undeclared. And I was like, oh my God, what am I going to do? I have no idea what I want to study. I'm really confused. I felt pressured in to choose something. So I chose sociology because I was like, you know what? I'm a social butterfly. I love connecting with people outside of my home. I like to interact with different cultures. And so I decided that sociology was for me. At first, I did not like it, but I think it was because of the professors that I had that made it very uninteresting until I came to CSULB and I was finishing my 2 years, and I was like, you know what, this is actually a really cool major because it can branch out into so many fields. I think a lot of people think that sociology just means social worker, but in reality, you can go into law, you can go into med, you can become a social worker. Sorry, I get excited and then all my words start to jumble.
No, you're fine.
It's just a really interesting way of opening your eyes to what the world is really like and not staying within your bubble. It's you learn about immigration, you learn about law, you learn about medical, you learn about so many things that I personally never thought existed. I thought I was very open-minded to everything about the world, but it wasn't until I went into CSULB and I took certain classes that opened my eyes, realizing that there's a lot of wrongs in this world and what ways as a new generation can we fix that. So I just really love sociology. I think it's one of those majors that should always be considered if you don't know what to do. So that's just how I feel about my sociology major.
You discovered that you had dyslexia. How
Yes.
did you embrace having dyslexia?
So it was not an easy transition, I guess, because ever since I was young, I've always realized that I was doing things differently than everybody else in the class. I am very social outside of school, but when it comes to school, my mind completely blocks and I kind of feel like I'm not doing things right. And it wasn't until a couple instances that people were like, hey, did you mean to write this 3 backwards? And I was like, oh no, that's an 8. And then they were like, are you sure? And I was like, yeah. It looks like an 8 to me. But unfortunately, to the world, it was just so out of the norm that I started to do more research in 2017. And then it wasn't until 2018 I started doing more research. And then I discovered that I was dyslexic. And then, of course, to be properly diagnosed, I went to go see a doctor and they were like, oh, yeah, you match everything that a person with dyslexia may have. And I was like, oh, okay, so it makes more sense. And ever since I've came to the conclusion that I had dyslexia, my confidence and the way I've learned and taught myself extremely changed. I started to pay more attention to the things that I said. I started to pay more attention to the things that I read, the way I communicated with people, the way I listened. And so ever since I decided that that was something that was within me, I needed to embrace it. I needed to accept it. And now I'm here. So
you also mentioned in your bio your self-journey love, which I think is amazing you mentioned it because the self-love journey is so important and it's a hard journey. But my question for you is, what is something you have learned about yourself throughout your journey of self-love?
Ooh, that's actually a really good question because I still have not figured that out. But I guess the best way I can describe it is accepting my body because when I was younger, I also had an eating disorder. And, having an eating disorder and having dyslexia and not understanding what those two things meant, I just felt like I was not enough. And so, in order to discover those, or not to discover, to hide those feelings, I would always like try to be there for others. And so I guess I decided that I couldn't water everybody else's flowers anymore while mine was dying. I needed to start prioritizing mine. And I guess I needed to start accepting the cons of myself and embrace them as the pros. And I guess like taking those steps and like learning, like, okay, what was the reason why you didn't love yourself? And it was because I was trying to meet the standards of society. I wanted to be so skinny and I wanted to be at a certain number, but in reality my body, for how tall I am, it can't handle that. It's actually really under what my body can handle. And so I guess just learning that I can't hold things within myself anymore, just talking about them and crying about them, being frustrated about whatever I am feeling and validating my feelings, it has made me realize, like, okay, your body is beautiful, your mind is beautiful, you are beautiful. And as long as I keep reminding myself that, then I feel like I can continue to move forward with my self-love journey.
So you also mentioned that you felt insecure and out of place your entire life. How did you overcome those feelings?
I guess where the self-love journey began, I started to realize that I was putting so many negative thoughts in my head, like, oh, everybody thinks I'm crazy, everybody thinks I'm dumb, everybody thinks I'm fat. In reality, the only person that was thinking that was myself. Like, of course, there are people out there who are not going to like me, who are not going to agree with everything that I have to say. But at the end of the day, if I just am comfortable with who I am and comfortable in the decisions that I make that are best for myself, I guess that's the only way that I can continue to like move forward in life. It's not thinking that everybody is out to get me when in reality I'm only out to get myself.
You landed your first amazing job opportunity as a behavioral technician. What
Mhm.
exactly is behavioral technician and how did this opportunity arise?
It's really interesting. I actually didn't even know what behavioral technician was. As a sociology major, I was looking up like, okay, I'm going to graduate. What am I going to do? I don't know what to do. And I decided to look on Indeed, and I was really tired of working at Chick-fil-A. I was working there for 2.5 years. I was working over 40 to 60 hours a week. And I remember, because this was in the middle of the pandemic, like I had a migraine for 20 days straight, like from morning to night. And I said, this is not for me anymore. It's really starting to affect my health. The pay was great. The employee was great. The employers were great. Everybody was great there. But the way everything around Chick-fil-A was really starting to affect me mentally. And so I decided, okay, let's just look on Indeed. Let's see what I can get. And I came across this um, application called Behavioral Technician for Flex Learning LLC here in Long Beach. And I was like, okay, let me apply. Like, the worst that could happen is I don't get it. He emailed me back and he was all like, oh, hi. So, behavioral technician is basically a place where we train you to teach people or to teach children or adolescent adults that have learning disability who are autistic, and you kind of reshape the way they learn to move on in life. And I was like, oh, this is such a cool way to like, embrace like who you are, because, I myself had my dyslexia. So I was like, okay, like, I guess I'll try. And I did it. And I've been with the company for almost 6.5 months. And I've loved every single bit of it. Like, before I came here, I was with the client from 9 to 12. And I sit there in class with him and I just kind of teach him, like, when he gets frustrated because he isn't in an advanced class for his age and he gets frustrated. So I have to be there to be like, okay, let's take a break. Let's calm down. Let's breathe. Let it out. Tell me what's wrong. Let's use our words instead of like them being frustrated and throwing tantrums and protesting with physical or vocal ways. And ever since then, like, I've noticed that there's been changes in my children's, like in my client's life, like the way their parents tell me, like, oh, when you're not here, they talk about you and then they use those skills that you taught them in everyday life. And I'm like, that's so cool. Like, it's just like a really amazing way to acknowledge that not everybody is like quote unquote normal. Everybody is capable of having these disabilities, but it's rearranging the way we react to those like frustrations or those tantrums. And I guess it's a place that is not really talked about. And I'm trying to like push it on like my podcast and when I talk to people about what I do, because it's like you never know if one day you'll be having a child that is going to need those resources and those tools. So I think that's what's really cool about it.
That's very beautiful because that's going back to how you said how sociology has this huge umbrella and not many people know about that. So yeah, that's great that you're, showcasing it more to people.
Yeah, it's definitely a field that I think a lot of people should, be open-minded to it. Don't close your mind when you see, oh, behavioral technician, and it's like, oh, what is that? It's basically just being a teacher to those that don't know how to fit into society and giving them a place to feel more comfortable within their skin and in their home and in their environments. So I definitely think that if anyone feels like they don't know what to do with their lives, go into the sociology field and, learn more as much as you can and then figure it out from there. Because with me, even though I have a BA in sociology, and if I want to do my master's and my PhD, I can continue doing different studies that can give me different degrees and then land me a job that is like anywhere around the world, basically. So it's really interesting.
Back in November of 2020, you started a podcast, Undressed with Jess.
Yes.
What was the inspiration behind it and your goal with it?
So the inspiration behind it was really like, you guys can tell I kind of like to talk a lot.
Mhm.
And I felt like I was recently getting into podcasts and I just felt like there was none that was really calling me in a sense. Like I'm the type of person that likes to have different conversations of all things. Like I don't like to be stuck in one field or in one way or one path. And so I decided to start Undress with Jess so that we can really just undress all the things that make us vulnerable and uncomfortable about life, whether it's being in your 20s, whether it's being in a long-term relationship, moving out of your home for the first time, being a young Hispanic first gen oldest child. It's like being able to really discover how I feel in the moment, but also how the people who I'm having on the show feel about the topic as well. And it's about mental health. It's about getting to know yourself, loving yourself, and growing and discovering all the things that we were once fearful of, and a way we can embrace them and just move on forward and like keep growing.
Awesome. And you also have a business called Gem Envy Boutique. What made you want to start your own business?
Yes. So when I was little, I remember I had a dream that I owned a jewelry shop. And I don't know where this dream came from because I was like, okay, I don't even wear jewelry. Like, this is so weird. And ever since then, it kind of just stuck in the back of my head. But then as I'm older, I realized that I was always taking my mom's jewelry because she has this huge jewelry chest at home. And she always tells me, like, one day all this is going to be yours. And then I was like, okay. And I just came to terms that I've always loved jewelry, but I guess it's the creativeness of it because with my dyslexia, like I hated school and I was like, I don't want to go back to school. I'm not ready for that. It's a huge commitment for me. And I think it's really hard sometimes when my parents are like, you need to go to get your master's and your PhD. Like, we're not going to settle for less. And it's like, okay, I understand that because, they came from Mexicali and Guadalajara. So they want to be able to give me a life that is out of this world, like, and provide for my future children. But to me, it's like, I know I'm comfortable with people and I know I'm comfortable with the things that I create, and why not put them together? So it's been a journey. It's definitely been an up and down roller coaster, but just getting the feedback and getting those reviews and people ordering, it's just such a huge reassurance, and it makes me feel like, okay, I'm on the right path. My journey is just starting, so give it time, and I'm going to give it like another 5 years and see where it goes. And if it doesn't go anywhere, I could at least say I did it. So that's really where it's at right now. But basically, it's just a way to buy affordable jewelry that makes you feel like you have it all put together. So
How do you design collections for your boutique?
ooh, that's a good question. So I'm a very kind of last minute person. As you can see, I have a lot going on in my life. But basically, what I like to do is I like to go to downtown LA. I like to handpick my pieces from some of the vendors that I have. And I'll basically see what they have. I'll buy them in wholesale, and then I'll come back home and I'll break them apart and then recreate them into a design that's my own. So it's like I'm not feeling like I'm copying anybody else's work. It's just more of like whatever I'm feeling in the moment. I just like to break things and put them back together. And it's a lot of fun. But now I'm branching out because I'm getting more smarter with the things that I want to create. And so now I just kind of lay them out. I draw in my journal. I write the inches, I write the measurements, I write like the material of it, and I go into work and I'm like, okay, let's see how this looks and let's see how that looks. And then if I like it, I'll sell it. I will never sell anything that I don't personally like, because then it's like I don't want to be cheating my customers, if that makes sense.
And you mentioned how it's been an up and down journey, but throughout this journey as a business owner, what have you learned?
Ooh, patience. I've learned that patience is key. At one point in my life last year in November, I didn't get one sale and I was like ready to give up. And I was like, oh my God, like I can't do this anymore. Like it's really starting to drain my account, because I work as a behavioral technician to fund my businesses. And if my behavioral technician doesn't have enough money coming in, then my businesses don't have enough money coming in. So when those orders don't come and I just spent all that money from my behavioral technician paycheck, I feel like defeated. But my roommate was helping me, and she just basically motivated me, and she was like, what, Jess, you really have to be patient, like pray it out, manifest it, get those orders. And I remembered the next day I was like, I don't know if you guys are religious, I am, but I was like, God, like please, like just show me a sign that I am on the right path. And that next day I got 15 orders. And I was just like, I cried. I was like, okay, I'm on the right path. I just need to learn to be more patient. And ever since that day, I've just told myself, always have a goal, but if you don't always reach those goals, it's okay. But if you're at least 80 to 90% there, then you made it. So I'm just trying to have that mindset and just know that patience is key when having a business, hard work is key, but also learning to believe in yourself, I guess. Like there's a lot of things that come with having a business.
How do you promote your boutique and podcast to get people's attention?
Oh, I'm learning that one right now. I guess so. For my podcast, since I just started, I'm barely on my 14th episode. The cool thing about my app is that it shows me where it's been, and it's currently hit 10 different countries, which is really, really exciting. And so what I like to do is kind of just ask in every episode, like, how is everybody doing? I know sometimes like we try to ignore our feelings and we don't want to validate them in the moment because, we have so much going on and we think we don't have enough time. But I guess just like reflecting and reassuring people that like you really need to ask yourself, how are you doing that day? And if you're not okay, it's okay to feel that way. Like you don't have to push yourself to be happy if you're not having a good day, but just also realize that your days will get better once you acknowledge all those emotions and once you acknowledge all those feelings that you're having, because I feel like when we hold them in, it kind of dis re- disembellishes all of like the things that we need to do for that day and then like the next day. So I guess like in one way, what I do is like consistently ask people like how are they doing, and then I have an Instagram for it, which is like, oh, on this week's episode, would you like to hear this or this? And then people will choose. And then the next day I'll be like, okay, you guys wanted to hear about sex series part 3. And I have like my friend come in and she has a lot of followers, and she'll be like, okay, like ask us questions. And then that's kind of how we go off of that. Business wise, I go to a lot of pop-up shops. I'm trying to actually start my own flea market here in Long Beach. I'm actually trying to like get in the process of that and start hosting like my own events so that people can come and they can like show off all of their amazing work. But I also use like Facebook, Instagram, whole bunch of like social media platforms that I never thought I would get good at, but I feel like every day is a learning process. So
And how do you balance being a business owner, having a podcast, having a job, but also at the same time enjoying your own personal life?
ooh, that's you guys ask good questions. Because it's funny because these are literally all the questions that I asked myself like last week when I was thinking about this podcast. I was like, what am I gonna say? But um I guess like for me, just really writing out everything that I need to do that week. If you see like my planner, it's in different colors because that's the only way I can like organize what's happening in my life, because I also have a boyfriend of 7 years, so, like, I'm a cat mom, like, I have to maintain relationship with my family, like, through phone calls, I'm a godmother, it's, like, a lot of things happening, and so I guess writing things down and organizing them and coloring them, like, my businesses are in orange, my behavioral technician is in green, my personal stuff is in purple, my bills are in pink, and it's, like, it's getting harder because it's like, when am I gonna have time for myself? But I've really been on this journey of like working out and trying to eat much healthier and drink a lot more water. Like a lot of people are like, "Oh, that's never gonna change your life." I have personally seen a huge difference in my life and in my mood because I started to prioritize myself. And I guess like just giving myself 20 minutes a day to do all those things, like just to be like, okay, wake up early, go on a run at 5 a.m. with my roommate when she goes, or come back home later in the day and just chill and watch my 10 minutes of YouTube or be on my phone. It's like allowing myself to just relax during my busiest days as well. So I guess that's the only way I can really describe it.
So what do you hope people think when they wear your jewelry?
Ooh, that's a good question. um, I just hope it makes them feel beautiful, or it makes them feel like special, because I don't know, I feel like we can all just wear outfits, but the moment that we accessorize and we add those things to our everyday wear, it just makes us feel like a certain way. You know what I mean? Like I have people who are always like, Jessica, I wear these hoops every single day. And I'm like, oh, that's so good. And I ask them like, how is the quality? How's everything? Like, they're so good. They make me feel so pretty. And I'm just like, okay, I guess that's what I'm trying to be reassured of. Like, I hope that people, when they see it, they're like, oh my God, this is actually something that I never once thought I would wear, but now I can wear.
Do you have like a favorite piece of jewelry that you made that
Yes, so it's actually not out, but I made this ring yesterday. It's like a little, I don't know. I was just sitting there with my roommate. We were was like waiting to go on a walk, and I like made this pearl ring, and
Yeah, it's really
like
pretty.
the gold was
Mhm.
from this chain that I wanted to shorten because it was too long for me, and I was like, "Ooh, I wanna have, like, a 14-inch chain." And I was like, "I don't wanna throw away the excess, so, like, what should I do with it?" And I, like, had this little pearl bead, and I just made it, and I think, like, this is by far, so far, my favorite piece because it's, like, a one of a kind,
Mhm.
and no one has it. Like, I don't know, I really, really like it.
So I'm also a first generation Latina. So seeing another fellow Latina like doing all these amazing things is very inspiring to me.
Oh,
And yeah. And then so, being a first generation Latina who has a podcast, you have your job, you have a BA. What does all of this mean to you?
Um, you guys are putting me on the spot here, and I'm just kidding. No, I'm actually enjoying these questions. Like I really like when people ask questions that are outside of my comfort zone, because these are things that I talk about in my everyday life, but I don't broadcast. So, um, I guess for me, it's like my parents are super, super traditional. Like I had mentioned, I've been in a 7-year relationship and I'm almost going to be 24 this year. And I've came to terms that I need to start being the my own boss in my own life, and I have never given my parents any reason to not believe in me when it comes to wanting to live with my boyfriend that I'm not married to yet, because they really want me to like go to school, finish my masters, get engaged, get married, have children, and then live with my man. And it's like I am living in a different total generation, and I don't believe that there's only one way in life. I really want to be able to prove to my parents and prove to any fellow Latina or Latino that we don't always have to follow tradition to succeed in life. And it does become a battle between my parents and I, but I feel like I know who I am as a person, and I know what my overall goals are. I know what I want my life to be, so I'm not going to let anything get in the way of that, you know? Of course, there are consequences when you want to make decisions that are big like that, but just sticking true to who you are as a person and having those communication skills will really show them that like I am here for myself. I am doing this for myself. So, I guess the best advice that I can give any fellow Latina or Latino is like do what you think is best for yourself, but be responsible and be safe in the decisions that you decide to make because, you know, we're going to be tested throughout life every single day. And we are in control of whether we want to make this right decision or this bad decision. Because sometimes even the right decisions have consequences. And it's learning to be able to handle those situations and understanding like okay, I'm an adult, I decided that I wanted to do this for myself, how am I going to solve this problem, how am I going to learn from it and move on from it.
So before we end, we have some rapid fire questions. The first question is, what is your favorite color?
Ooh, I like the matcha color.
Matcha.
What is something you have been proud to say you have accomplished?
I'm very proud to say that I accomplished my degree. I didn't think I was going to make it far in my 4 years, but I did that. So,
What is some advice that you wish that you would have known when you were younger?
ooh, just knowing that you're going to be okay. It's gonna be hard, but at the end of the day, you're going to learn, you're going to grow, and you're going to succeed, and you're going to be all right. So,
Can you describe yourself as a teenager in 3 words?
fun, loud, and loving.
What does success for you mean right now?
Success. Ooh, success for me is just being happy in everything and anything that I do. For a long time, I was very unhappy with anything that I was accomplishing. I felt like I was not doing enough, but today I'm very happy of where I stand and reminding myself that I'm doing the best that I can with the time that I have and the money that I have and it'll further show in the future. So,
What is a book that you have recently read or currently reading that you would recommend?
all right, I was going to lie at first, guys, but I'm not going to lie. I don't read books because they stress me out. I'd rather just hear an Audible. But the one book that I did hear on Audible was You're a Badass. I don't know if I'm allowed to say that. Am I allowed to say that? Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Okay,
Yes.
cool.
I know that book, yeah.
But yeah, it's really good. A lot of people are reading it right now. And I just think like it's really cool to know that like it's not just about your self-love, but it's like really knowing the like psychology about it and like understanding that there are things that you cannot control that you just need to embrace and then be able to like move forward from that.
Thank you so much, Jessica, for sitting down and talking with us. We learned a lot about you. Can you let everyone at home know about any upcoming projects and where they can connect with you?
Yeah, of course. So every Thursday I have my podcast that comes out. It's just about different, things every day, but it's every Thursday in the morning and you can always contact me through all of my social medias, which will one be Undressed with Jess with 4 S's. And then you can also contact me, buy some jewelry. All of my socials are public. You guys can always reach to me and just follow at GemMB Boutique, at Jessica at underscore Jessica Trujillo, and at Undressed with Jess.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Jessica. Like, I really enjoyed this interview and good luck on everything. You're doing amazing and it's so inspiring. So thank you so much for doing
Thanks,
this.
ladies. I'm actually very grateful that you guys even reached out to me. Wish you guys the very best of luck in whatever you guys do. And I hope to hear from you guys again one day.
Hi, everyone. It's Desiree again.
Yeah, Melissa.
Did you enjoy this episode?
I'm sure you did.
Then please make sure to give this video a like, subscribe, and turn on post notifications for this channel.
Check out the teen content video playlist here and our latest Teen Gen episode here.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.